So in order to avoid switching the thread a million times, I like to do all the steps on the outer body and then all of the steps on the lining. So first thing we're going to do is trim. So we have our bag. We're going to trim these seams down to about 1/4 inch. Again, please do not use your good scissors to cut through metal. I just have zipper tape here, so just cutting through the zipper tape, just trimming them down. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to box all 4 corners of the outer bag. And the way I like to do it is to cut out squares. There are a couple ways to box the bottom, but this is my preferred method. So we want to make sure we're measuring the squares from the seam line and not from the edge of the fabric. So find your seam line, and then we're going to make squares that are 1 1/4 inches. We're going to make those on all 4 corners. And again, I'm using my knitting needle to mark my wax canvas. So I have all 4 corners marked. Now I'm going to cut out these squares. And I highly suggest, if this is the first time making the bag, that you measure twice before you cut. The next thing I'm going to do is just sort of help myself by finger pressing these seam allowances open. And that they won't really go open on the really thick part, and this is where it's really helpful to have reduced my stitches on these seams because they're not unraveling. The way to box the bottom is at one of the corners. You basically just bring this folded edge to meet the seam. So you're just opening the corner. You can kind of see where it's been creased here. You want that to line right up with the seam and have the seam allowance pressed open. And then I just like to use a clip to keep it all in place. We'll be doing this with each corner, and we'll be sewing right across with a 1/2 inch seam allowance to make our box bottom. I'm going to take this to my machine.